This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission to
Part 2, Two Towers, Lord of the Rings. TC staying medium, John staying very positive, me staying very hyperbolic. That's where we are. And now we're going to get into trivia, and I don't know how to format this, guys. I didn't think about this before coming back for the break.
What do you mean?
Trying to fix some audio issues.
Oh.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean? I mean, you never think about how to format things, so go ahead.
I do.
All right. Oh, do you?
This is a fucking find. This is a sharpened sword over here, John.
No, it doesn't show, I'm saying.
Does it not? Well, you're about to find out what it looks like otherwise, because it's about to get real sloppy. I in the first part I said maybe going through scene by scene wasn't a great thing, but I did bring up a bunch of trivia in those scenes. Mm-hmm. So maybe we do it just loosely without having a list.
Don't worry, just fly by the seat.
Dive right in, Denny.
So yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Because this is all just taking more time.
Exactly.
Which is a good thing? Or you think that's a good thing?
Yeah, sure, good thing. Now get going.
I mean, what do you guys want out of this? How about this?
I want to hear the trivia.
This one.
Pick a scene, any
John.
scene.
I'm sorry, Dane.
Any scene.
Pick a scene. Let's go with the beginning, the opening. The what did they do? Do they have a helicopter? Or they didn't have drones back then, right? Helicopter. Fucking helicopter, right?
No drones back then.
Yeah. Right? It's beautiful. Like, how did they get it so like nice and stable and smooth? Probably camera on like some suspension thing. I don't know, but it looks just so cool.
Steady cam in a helicopter. Plus, they had digital stabilization back then. That was
okay. So they did
had.
That.
Yeah. So they had a lot of footage. They had like a shit ton of footage. They basically had. They said at some points they had 12 second units, or they're not second units if there's 12 of them, but second. I don't know what you call them.
Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
They had 12 units,
right? They had 12 units. And Peter Jackson was the first unit. That's how that works. But he would hop between sets all the time. Like he would fly in a helicopter sometimes between 3 or 4 sets as things were going on.
Whoa.
Wow.
Talk about
across New Zealand.
Prodigy.
Yeah. And like some of the construction projects, like what's the name of the town? Like the Rohirrim King's town. I forget the name of the town on the mountain within the mountain range. You know, the little in the middle of the movie. It's Theoden's little area. Does any of this make it? John knows. TC doesn't.
I know. I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of that town either. Shit. John, do you know?
Not offhand.
Yeah. But it's that town. It's like this city in the middle of nowhere in the middle of mountains. And they basically, the description of the book was talking about it in that way, where it was like a city on a hill in the middle of mountains. And they flew around New Zealand for months on end trying to location scout this place. And they found it flying around in helicopters after like weeks and months of searching. And they built everything there. Wow. Every shot of that city / town or whatever they built. It took them 8 months to build it. And they filmed there for like 8 days. And then they tore it down.
Wow.
That's pretty ridiculous. I mean, really.
Yeah. It was so remote that they had to like literally fly all the construction materials out every day by helicopter and just drop them.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that production? Like just how much stress that would be managing that? Can't even.
That one part of this tiny piece of this movie.
Right.
Yeah. Insane. And it looks great. Knowing that it's real, it helps. Like there's some CG stuff in these movies that looks so good that you sometimes when you're seeing the real stuff, you forget that they actually filmed it in these locations, but they did. And like all of those, a lot of the shots in this movie are real. Like a lot of the vast mountaintops and things like that, where there's like a giant pan around a character as they're riding a horse through an area or whatever. They just found like this really freaking beautiful spot in New Zealand and filmed there. And like, that's pretty sweet. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
My favorite shot in this movie is the one where Aragorn is riding his horse back after seeing the Orcai coming. And it shows him riding like through all these beautiful mountaintops. And it's a single shot and the camera and the helicopter's panning around him. And it eventually comes around and it shows Helm's Deep from a distance in the same shot. and Helm's Deep looks real as fuck. It looks like it's built into this like rock face, and nothing about that shot is aged. And it's just like, yeah, they have a miniature superimposed on this mountaintop in the background, and it's a panned freaking shot of Vigo actually riding the horse, because he's a good horse rider, and he actually bought that horse because they made such good friends.
Right.
They made such good friends. Vigo is a horse lover after making these movies.
Nice.
That shot of him getting picked up by the horse was dangerous. They actually cut out like the most dangerous looking parts of it. Horses are heavy. I don't know if you guys knew that. Did you guys know that?
I would assume that.
They're large creatures and they're quite pointy at the bottom. It's like a big bunch of meat at the top and then like really pointy sticks at the bottom.
Little tiny ones. That's right.
Heavy pointy sticks.
Yeah, and if you get hit with the sticks, all that fat meat part, the weight of it's going to go into your body, and that's not good most of the time.
Nope. Horse riding, one of the most dangerous things you can do.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, I mean, it's like, as far as like
it
head
seems
injuries,
so tame and stupid, but yeah, I guess falling from like 6 feet upside down
I guess
is
maybe that
bad for you.
Makes it exponential.
Yeah.
But he got really into it.
It's
Viggo
like
Mortensen
if you
is
classify it as a sport, it's one of the most dangerous things you can do.
Wow.
As far as sports go. Anyway, by the way, I'm going to interrupt you twice. So
it's good. Keep it counter, John. Keep it counter.
Theoden's town is Edoras. Is what it's
Edoras.
called.
That's the hardest one to remember.
Yeah. It's so the other, I keep forgetting to mention too, if anybody noticed, didn't anybody want to brush Aragorn's hair out of his face?
No.
Like they'd get the Aragorn close-ups, and his hair would be like
one
over his
strand.
eye.
Yeah.
Like a couple of, it's ridiculous.
No, it makes it more natural.
Nobody let their hair like sit over their eye like that. He must have known it was there.
Aragorn doesn't give a fuck, John.
I guess not.
Hasn't washed it in weeks.
I know, but it just seems like, man, he's got a brush. Maybe he just knows he can't do that because that would disrupt the scene. But he's like, my hair's in my fucking eyeball, but I can't do anything about it. I don't know.
Dude, he's a badass.
He is badass, I guess.
He broke 2 of his toes in one of the shots in the movie when he comes upon the pile of Orcai that are burning, and he kicks the helmet. They did that take a bunch of times, and it wasn't like they weren't getting Aragorn's like reaction enough. And the time you see in the movie when he kicks the helmet, breaks 2 of his toes.
Ow.
That's what's happening. That's why he's in so much pain. That's why he drops to his knees. Broke 2 of his toes. It didn't stop the filming in the movie.
No.
They wrapped his toes.
Let's use
the
that.
next day, his shots of running around, he ran around for weeks on end. He ran around until his toes were no longer broken.
Whoa.
For the rest of the movie.
That's what they do now.
Crazy.
That's what they say you should do. You shouldn't rest anyway. You just go work it out. That's what they say. You break something, you just go use it.
Go use it at the gym. You'll be fine.
So Gimli is big. Like the actor John Rhys Davis is a tall dude. So anytime you see a shot of Gimli and Legolas and Aragorn running around the mountaintops, they have a body double for Gimli, who's actually a shorter person that is fit and can like run around with armor. So it's like, it's not John Rhys Davis running around. It's this other body double guy. There was a point in time where they were filming where Vigo had broken toes, Orlando Bloom had a broken rib, and the guy who was doubling for Gimli had like just popped his knee out. And they were running around mountaintops and they were filming it with helicopters.
Whoa.
So they're just like injured in a way that affects your ability to run, toughing through it to like get the shots in this movie.
It's pretty crazy.
Just pretty sweet.
Yeah. John Rhys Davis, he's 80 years old right now.
Shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
He's a weird guy. He said some weird things in the commentary track.
What do you mean? Like weird, like creepy, weird, like just unusual?
He seems like the kind of guy that takes acting, like he takes it really seriously. Like really seriously. You know what I mean? Like in a way where if you like you're like, oh, I love you. You're fucking great. Indiana Jones and these other movies. And he'd sit there and you listen to him for like 20 minutes. You're like, I don't want to listen to him anymore.
Yeah, I don't
really?
this guy sounds like an asshole.
That's too bad because he's
always like,
so
he does like the
iconic in
actor
those
talk where he's like, actors do the thing where the actors.
Oh, God.
It's funny
that sort of
because
stuff.
his characters like Sala in Raiders of the Lost Ark, he seems so friendly. In Gimli, he seems so friendly and warm.
He's a great actor.
Right. So he is a great actor if that's not the way he is in real life. Because he just, so it's kind of a disappointment though, because he does seem so like wonderfully chummy. Yeah.
Yeah, but keep that in your head. Doesn't matter, John. That's the whole point of acting. He's a great actor. because
That's
he
true.
can like portray
That's
that
true.
sort of stuff. A lot of like one of the most impressive parts of watching these special effects is listening to them dissect where you're watching shots from locations and where you're watching them from sets. Like,
Oh wow.
talk about like the beginning of the movie where Sam and Frodo are walking around rock areas. There are parts where they just like the Peter Jackson commentary was like volcano set or volcano location set, volcano set, and just like back and forth between different camera angles of them talking about their situation on rocks.
Wow.
They filmed a lot of it on a volcano, and then 2 years later got a bunch of pickup shots on a set that they decorated with like styrofoam rocks that they painted. And you can't tell.
No.
Literally cannot tell. And they were filmed 2 years apart, and it flows really well. Like, and he's just like, volcano, set. This is a volcano. That's a set. This is, and you're like, this is fucking amazing. Like, how do you keep this consistency years apart, locations apart? Actors look the same, makeup looks the same. It helps a lot that like a lot of the people that worked on it were on call. I don't know what their contracts were like. They didn't talk about that, but everyone that got a call came. So like if they ever needed to like come, like if any of the actors needed to come back, they did 100% of the time. There's actually the scene that I think that was removed from the theatrical cut of The Two Towers that should have stayed in it, had Sean Bean in it. He came back for pickups and they didn't put the scene in. It's a pretty great scene. It's Osgiliath, the ruined city, when it's a kind of a flashback that Faramir has, the Link character that steals Frodo. I'm trying to help TC figure out what part I'm talking about.
I tuned this out already.
The kidnapper of Frodo had a brother. It was Boromir. That's Sean Bean from the first movie. And there's a flashback they have in this movie that shows them conquering Osgiliath, which is the city where Frodo gets attacked by the anyway.
You're doing great.
But there's a whole long scene, and it has their father in it, who is actually not introduced until the third movie. But there's a whole long scene where it shows them together when Sean Bean is alive, and it's a really good scene. Like there's a lot of really good special effects. It helps create their character, like it helps solidify their relationship, and their relationship is important for this movie and the next movie, and it's just hard to like care about it if you don't see anything.
And that is something that is kind of cut out of the book. The people's concern of Boromir and wanting to know how he died is like very important. Like to all the different the different humans that they're encountering there, like that this is a huge big deal who Boromir was and what happened to him, and yeah, it's really kind of glossed over in the movies. Again, you can forgive them sort of because there's just so much going on that they're. But
it is like a 10-minute long scene, and they had to keep it below 3 hours, and this movie is like 2 hours and 58 minutes or something like that. So like, there's no room for it. There's nothing else you could cut out. So I understand what they had to do.
Right. They're like, well, Boromir's already dead, so
right. Yeah. It's a scene that really helps the movie be more cohesive and makes it, because I feel like this movie is so fragmented in the theatrical cut, where it's like that's the biggest problem with it, is that a lot of the time you're like, I don't even know why I should care about.
Right. Who are these guys and what's their relationship to them?
Right.
And yeah, it's hard.
More so in this one.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's kind of all it is in a lot of ways. Like in the middle, especially of this movie, where it's just like, my father does this, my father does that. And you're like, I don't know who your father is.
Yeah, you got these kings and these sons of kings, and then the brothers of the sons of the kings, and it's hard to.
Oh, your dad kicked you out of the kingdom. I don't know who your dad is. I don't know who you are. Why do I care about this?
Yeah,
Carl
it's hard.
Urban. Why are you in this movie? You're gonna come back later for a couple seconds. Oh, cool. I like Carl Urban. He's cool now.
Hey, he's always good.
This is like the first thing that he did.
Really?
No, not really. I mean, like this is the first big thing that he did. He was an unknown New Zealand actor back then, but he's it's quite popular now.
Yeah, he's a
Thanks,
heavyweight.
Lord of the Rings.
He was. I thought his big wasn't he? Carl Urban was in Star Trek. Yeah, he was Dr. McCoy in the Star Trek reboot. I know, but he was
after these ones.
He was really good at that. In that, and then
have you seen the Dread? The Dread movie? You haven't seen Dread?
No, is he really good?
Holy shit, Dread is amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's like 2008, maybe?
Yeah, 2012.
2012. Yeah, that one. Watch that one. Holy shit. I've seen that movie. Me and Naomi love that one. It is so awesome. It's like hyper violent sci-fi action.
Oh, maybe we should do that.
good.
We should do a cast on this one then, maybe.
Yeah. It's a good one.
TC is nodding in approval. I see that right now.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You like hyper-violent sci-fi action, right? That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
And it's fast. Unlike this, TC, where it dwells between scenes, that one is just like, hey, there's a building full of crazy-ass people. Let's go in there and start trying to kill them.
All right.
And that's
that
the movie.
Sounds more like my speed.
Yeah. So yeah, the Eowyn character, I don't know. What did you guys think about her?
I don't know.
As good as anyone else for TC's kind of throwing his hands up in the air.
No, she doesn't. I don't know. She's just there for the dramatic effect, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any strong thoughts about her, John? Are you afraid to talk about it?
No, I didn't. I mean, you seem to think that, like, as an actor, she wasn't sort of up to snuff with the rest of the cast, and I didn't seem to think she stood out that way. I think it's just hard for her to compete.
Isn't that saying the same thing, John? What are you even trying to say here?
Sorry. Well, no, she's like competing
it's not
against
that
the
she
immortal
didn't
elf.
try.
Everyone,
I mean, it's not her fault. Everyone is just so much better than she is.
They didn't give her enough to do. They didn't. I think
they gave her a lot to do, John. Way too much to do. That is also a false point.
It's funny.
Okay, fine.
She's in a lot of the scenes, just like trying as hard as she can to look convincing that she's crying, and it's not convincing. And these commentary tracks are filled with people talking positively, like on everyone else in the movie. And she's the only one who comes in and talks shit on her own performance and other things in the movie. So
really?
It just confirms. I'm just like, she wasn't great. And she's like, I wish I didn't have to cry so much in this scene. And I'm just like, fuck you.
Okay.
You're an actor.
Yeah, like you're supposed to be
happy
doing
you're
that.
in this movie. Yeah.
Right.
So she complained a lot, which lowered my
it's literally your job.
It was already kind of
right.
You're literally supposed to do whatever they ask you to do. If you can't do it, then you suck at your job. That's it.
Oh, I don't do crying. All right. I don't do. It's out. I don't do crying. Okay. Imagine they'd be like,
"Wet
"What
eyeballs?
are you?
No, my eyeballs.
Why
are
are you
dry.
here then?
Fuck you."
That's right. Yeah.
We need you to cry like the entire movie. So.
A lot of matte paintings with digital effects in the background. They built a lot of miniatures in this movie and fit them in on green screen. A lot of like programmed camera movements to like scaled sets. Helm's Deep had 3 scaled sets. They had like a 1/4, a 1/66, and then a full size set. The 2 scaled sets were full sized, and then the full scale sets were like partialized. Like they built it into a rock quarry where they actually had like full on concrete platforms into the back of a rock, but they couldn't build the whole thing at once. They built sections along the quarry wall, and they would splice the different sections, like the different tiers of what they built together through programmed camera movements and CG and stuff like that.
Wow.
So whenever you see like a big panning shot over everyone running around, it's like 4 different shots melded together over real sets, that sort of thing. If it's a far shot, it's like the small scale miniature. Like they just have so many tricks. And the people at Weta were just talking about, they had as much money as they could ever want. And they just kept producing what they called paint for Peter. Like even when Peter didn't know what he wanted, they wanted to give him like the biggest palette they could, that Peter could pull from. So they basically wanted to create like an entire, as much as they could, an entire 3-dimensional world of Middle Earth that Peter, if he wanted to show a shot from a certain angle, then they would already have something designed that he could like kind of put the camera into place. Like the shots, a lot of the shots of like Mordor and stuff like that, Peter wasn't even thinking about, but all these people on the artistry side were thinking about and creating it. And Peter's like, okay, we need to end on a shot of Mordor. And they're like, already got you, boss.
Wow.
How about this? It's like, we'll go over the mountaintop. We'll show the volcano. We'll show the eye. Show a bunch of fucking Nazguls flying around. End a movie. What do you think? And he's like,
perfect.
That's fucking great. Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate you.
You guys are really, really
That's
good.
why
at your
we
jobs.
hire
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, they were trying to do that. It's weird because they were working really hard all the time, but they still had time to nerd out and go the extra mile to do all this extra shit.
Well, because there's
to build
more
out the
money.
world.
You can keep working if
It's
you
more
want to work,
money.
right?
Plus, also, it probably helps inform, like, you could test out technology in certain ways.
Right. And they're
Like, you have
probably
to test it
working
in
with
some
people,
way,
like
right?
partners that are giving them the tech to work with. So they have a certain amount
Right.
of time where they're not even getting charged for it and blah, 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 blah. Each one jerks each other off, and then they talk about how great they are, and then they end up at the Oscars, you know?
Exactly.
That's Hollywood.
Exactly right, TC.
It sums
But
it up.
has it ever been more deserved than this movie, TC?
No,
I would
totally.
argue that
I agree.
potentially, yeah. And dude, I think you'll like the last one the most.
Yeah. And then
I
somehow we ended up with Zoe Saldana dancing around in some stupid movie, and you know.
Everything is
Everything
bad
is
these days,
bad.
dude.
Yeah. I know.
Every single thing is bad.
It is kind of sad how none of us were really like last year. We had a good time with the Oscars and did our predictions and had a show around it. And this year we were just like, yeah, nah, never mind.
The movies weren't.
You know
I
what?
liked
Never
Nora.
mind.
You guys
Yeah.
didn't.
Huh?
I mean, The Substance, Dune 2, and Alien Romulus were like the best movies we saw last year.
Yep.
And they got some Oscar love, but they didn't win that much.
I know, but it just didn't feel as I don't know, as interesting. I don't know. Next year, hopefully, we'll do it. Maybe we'll be more enthusiastic. I don't know. Maybe we will. Hopefully, we'll still be around. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
As in not dead? As in
Yeah,
not
right, as in
blown
not
off the face
dead.
of the
or,
earth?
as, or
100%.
I don't know. Maybe that only sanctioned films will be allowed in the
Yeah.
Academy
Only
Awards. I don't
sanctioned
know.
I see.
AI-built
I
films
see.
will be allowed.
Yeah, films promoting certain non-woke causes will be allowed, and nothing else. I don't know. It's only films by Mel Gibson, basically. I don't know.
Just a lot of bloody scalps.
As a,
I'm down for that. That sounds pretty good.
That's fair. Like in vague references against heathens and homosexuals being bad or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's what we'll get.
Get in line, John. You know,
Yeah.
get in line. Otherwise, off with your head. They did a lot of things where they casted real rocks and real trees to save time. So like they would go and put plaster on rocks and then take the like tinfoil foam, like plaster stuff, and then cast it, like fill it with things. And they would do foam rocks that way. They would do foam rocks and they would do like the foam trees with these textures. So like they didn't actually have to texture the trees and stuff, which saved them a ton of time. Because like that Fangorn Forest was mostly a set. They went all around New Zealand trying to find a place that fit the profile of what Fangorn was supposed to be like, and they couldn't find it. So they decided they were going to build it, and they hired a tree scientist.
Wow.
I forget what it's called, but this guy,
Arborist,
He's like-
maybe? What would you
no,
call
not an
trees?
arborist, because he studies how trees grow and like the artistry behind it. Because like he had a bunch of artists, and he knew the shortfall of regular artists of how they draw trees, how there's patterns and stuff like that. And he's like, you can't use patterns. Trees don't follow patterns. So you have to like, there are these rules that he taught everyone on the artist side of like, this is how trees grow. It's more random than you think.
Oh, wow.
Dendrologist?
Maybe it's a word I wouldn't remember. So very possibly.
Yeah, dendrology is the study of trees and woody plants, including their growth, classification, and characteristics.
Yeah, it fits. So probably that
checks.
This guy was on board at teaching all the people who could draw trees and sculpt trees and build things how to do it properly
Sweet.
to make a tree look like a tree, as opposed to like a fake tree.
Making
So they
a
spent
tree
a lot
look
of
like
time
a
with this
tree.
guy. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Pretty good gig.
It was like, this is my moment. I've been waiting all my life for this.
He's like the horse painter from the first one. He's like, I'm the tree scientist guy who knows how trees grow branches.
I
This is
got the
job
call.
can
I
have.
knew it. We need a dendrologist.
He's the only guy in LinkedIn.
In
That
the
is his
world,
job
maybe. It's
description.
like, yeah,
Where do you go to school for that? I made it up, honestly.
yeah, seriously.
I just
Yeah.
created a word.
I just
it on a
wandered off one
certificate
day,
and
and I
called it
did
done.
not come
Yeah.
back for 20 years. And
You don't
I was
need
amongst the
criteria to print
trees.
business cards. You can just make up a word, put it on a business card.
right.
And, hey, look at that. I'm working on Lord of the Rings.
100%.
So yeah, and then they also they brought in a bunch of leaves, so all the leaves were real. They brought in a bunch of like grass and shit, so all that stuff on the ground was real. But it was so real, and they were bringing in real shit. In New Zealand, there are things called wetas, WETA. It's the reason they named the special effect company this. It's a local bug. It's a giant cricket. It's like 2 inches long. It's armored. It's pointy. It's kind of scary, apparently. And they infested this set with those lights because they built Fangorn Forest in a giant warehouse, giant ceilings, and they wanted it to be like
Oh my.
lit on the top. So like they wanted like the sun to look like it was being blocked out. So they put a bunch of lights up top, and it's a film, so you need to have a bunch of light that makes it through. So they had shit tons of hot fucking lights on the top of the roof above these fake trees they built. So the warehouse was hot as fuck to get like this dim amount of lighting in the part they were filming. So it festered, and these bugs came in and they were fucking everywhere. And Peter Jackson was afraid of them. He was like, a fair maiden when a mouse goes up her skirt.
No. You should look at. I put a picture in the chat. You should see these things.
Not cool looking. They look gnarly.
They're scary.
Yeah. And they're everywhere.
They're
everywhere.
Cockroach.
Oh my god!
They're everywhere in the Fangorn Forest sets. They are everywhere.
That's disgusting.
So
Look at that thing.
Everyone on set had to deal with it the entire time.
And they're like a sharp, like claw, like fucking. Ugh.
Yeah, they stick to you and they're heavy where you can feel them if they're like hanging on your skin.
Oh yeah.
God no! All for the production, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, and they can bite you.
they don't though. They're friendly.
Oh yeah, they're friendly,
yeah.
super friendly. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they are.
Yeah,
That's why they like. There's some reason
They just
want to
cuddle with you and
company.
like hang out.
They look.
So they're like, oh, dude, I can act. Do you want to? What do you need? What do you need? I got some chops, man. Look at this. Look at this.
Look,
I'm small, I can be a
look, she
hobbit.
can't
Come on.
cry. I
Come
can
on,
cry.
that's right,
I
yeah.
can cry.
I can cry. Dude, what's that cricket doing? It's making a whole lot of noise. It's crying, man. It's pretty
doing better than
authentic.
she is. Okay,
Yeah.
at the current moment.
I think we have a Best Supporting Cricket Oscar nomination written all over this movie.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on in that set.
Yeah, come on, picture
real
this, man.
leaves.
The crickets, they're crying for the trees, right? They're all the trees are burning. You got Treebeard sad. You cut down to the crickets, and the crickets are crying. Watch. Like,
John,
listen.
we told you before, get off set. This is a terrible idea.
Oh man. Okay.
So that's what's going on at Merry and Pippin's set. Sam and Frodo are having like a pretty miserable time. Elijah Wood is really hard to upset. He seems like a really nice. He's like I don't know. Like they had the most boring part of the shoot because they were with fake rocks a bunch of the time, acting against each other, trying to be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And Elijah Wood's spirit didn't crack. Can't be said about Sean Austin's character.
Oh,
Sean Austin, I don't know what word got around Hollywood because he didn't like do anything else after this. He's doing a bunch of like voice acting work. I don't know if that was by choice, but there was, and every single special feature in this movie talked about a day where him and Peter were going at each other, and then Andy Serkis pissed him off to the point where he stormed off the set, and it freaked everybody out. But there's the footage they show you, and Andy Serkis, who was interacting with these guys roughly a lot of the time because they were trying to interact with each other, pulled him back. It was the scene where they were kind of looking over the Black Gate and they were planning on like going through it, I think. And then Gollum comes up behind them and grabs him and pulls him away, being like, don't go that way. That's a bad way to go. Oh. Andy Serkis is there playing Gollum, grabs both of them by the backs, but accidentally grabs Sam's wig with the backpack attached, and he rips them back, and it rips Sam's wig off his head. And apparently that hurts because they glue it onto like your head, and there's like a bunch of pins keeping your hair down, whatever. And he was already in an argument with Peter Jackson that day, and he just fucking stormed off the set. And he tried to explain himself over all the special features. It got kind of annoying listening to him talk about it, but it was a big deal to him or to other people or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it like limited his chances to work with people again, sort of thing.
I don't know. Or maybe he thought that's enough of that shit. I'm getting a whole lot of money
Maybe.
for this.
Or that. Yeah, or that. He's like, I'll just do cartoon voice acting. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much easier, right? You don't have to be in the cold.
Yep.
With bugs on you.
Speaking of cold, Helm's Deep. That scene took 4 months to shoot.
Ooh.
3 months of it was nighttime shoots.
Oh, boy.
Every day, 3 months at night in the rain. And they had like hundreds of Orcai actors, and they had these rubber suits where it took hours to get them on. So like they would be up all night, running around, screaming, doing all this stuff in these rubber suits that were wet because they were drenching them with water. And then they would try to dry them out during the day, but there were hundreds of them. And they were in the middle of like this cold, wet weather, like area. They couldn't dry them out and they would stink. So like the next day they'd have to come back in, wear these like moderately wet rubber suits that stunk of BO and
Gross.
stand around again at night doing these large set pieces in the freezing cold. It was apparently the hardest part of the entire series was filming Helm's Deep, which makes a lot of sense. even the guy who plays Theoden was talking about like there's a shot where they're waiting for the Orcai to attack them, and he has his leg up on the castle wall because he's trying to be all heroic and stuff.
Yeah,
he's like,
right.
I made that choice.
That's what you do.
Yeah, he's like, I made that choice. I didn't realize I'd have to be standing like that for 5 days in a row.
Oh man,
like for 8 hours a day in the rain.
Didn't
And he's
think
like
it
an
through.
older guy, and he's like, I think I'm permanently damaged. Like my back is fucked up from that choice still.
Mm-hmm.
So just like there's small things, people broke themselves making this movie. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Cool, right, TC? Pretty
Yes.
cool.
I mean, yeah.
The sacrifices you
It
make.
is
Yeah.
kind of cool, I think. I don't know. Nobody died making this movie.
Well, that's a good.
No horse
that's
died.
good. That's
That
good.
is good.
They really tried to prevent anyone dying.
Oh, I thought you
know?
were trying to say that you were trying to kill people.
I mean, they kind of were. in
Despite
some
their
way.
best efforts.
They tried to come as close as possible to get the best shots. Honestly, the scariest thing was Aragorn sitting next to the horse as it fell on its ass.
Well, yeah. That's
Like, that'd kill you. Like, the horse is fucking huge. Horses are huge. I don't like horses. You don't like spiders? I don't like horses.
Wow.
Too big.
I like horses.
Everyone's like, they're friendly. And I'm like, if they wanted to kill us all, they could. They're fucking huge.
As long as yeah, I mean, yes, that's
Yeah.
true. I guess. Yeah.
Apparently, they're just like, they love hay so much. And they're like, hey,
Hey, I'll just sit
don't
around
kill
and eat
them. They
hay.
got
Yeah, as long as you give me hay, I'm good.
The dead marshes. We haven't talked about that scene at all
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
Pretty cool scene. TC, what do you think? Dead marshes towards the beginning of the movie. It's where there's like a bunch of dead bodies in the water, and they're trying to like get through it.
And Gollum's all creepy.
He's
What I
all
want to know is if
creepy,
Gollum
and then-
always knows the answers to everything, why don't they just ask him and have them give him the? He seems to know everything.
Give us an example of an example of a question you think he has the answer to.
Well, because they come up and they're like, "What are those guys doing?" And they're like, "Oh, those are the people that are gonna go march to the fucking thing and go somewhere else." And they're up on like the little mountain. They're like hiding as the guys go by, right? The troops, the wild
Yeah.
thing troops, or whatever.
into the gate.
Yeah, and you're
In
like,
the
okay,
Mordor?
so if
Yeah.
you know the whole story, then what the fuck?
No, he knows a lot. He knew don't look at the lights. Don't
Yeah,
like.
he tells them the entire
he
time.
tells them all these
what's going
things,
on.
Yeah.
Right? Why?
Yeah.
How does he know?
What do you mean why?
He wants to help sometimes.
Oh, because he wanders around. He's moved
yeah.
around.
Oh, so he's
Yeah,
gone. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
He's been like doing this for like ages now. Ever since
Yeah.
he lost the ring, he's been wandering.
All he
around
did
there, right?
before he lost the ring was wander around a Mordor
And I
area.
do like, and this is covered in the book as well too. I don't. I really. It's more. I think it's brought out more in the movie, which I really like. Is his struggle between the good and evil Gollum, and how how the movie shows that he's given these chances, but then other things happen where he feels betrayed, and so he goes back to being bad. Like he feels like when Frodo lets him be captured, just as he's like trying to make this like break from the bad Gollum. I think that's really well done in the film, and sort of like a really
and doesn't
sort of-
exist in the books.
Yeah.
That was Andy Serkis creating that.
No, but there's good and bad Gollum. No, there is him having conversations with himself.
But
as if
all
he
the
is someone else.
dialogue,
Oh yeah.
they said all the dialogue scenes where he was arguing with himself were created for the movie.
I think
Is what they said.
no. I think if I remember right, there is Gollum arguing with himself. I think in the book he does it a little bit. I don't think it's not nearly as often as in the movies.
Okay. At the very least, they created the scene at the end because Andy Serkis could do the back and forth so well, and they like he pushed the movie in a certain direction that they weren't planning on going.
Right.
I mean, Gollum is reconstructed to look like Andy Serkis because they needed to be able to match his face up because the technology wasn't at the point where they could just make a random face match the emotions. It had to be like similar in certain ways so they could match it.
Yeah. No. I mean, again, looking over my notes from the books, he does. It's not spoken as much. So it's more internal, mental, because of the books. But he's definitely arguing with himself and has this good side and bad side to him. That it's there. So I wouldn't say it. Just maybe giving a little too much credit to Serkis to say that that's his creation to have this good and bad Gollum.
Well, no,
But
I think
certainly-
it's the writer's creation.
for
Fran,
the writers.
I forget her
but
last
certainly,
name.
like
is-
again, it's brought to life so well in the movie where they show Gollum as having a completely different. He has a completely different expression and tone. When he's being like Smeagol versus Gollum, I guess. Like in certain terms of good versus bad, and it's just a neat like a really well done part of his character in the film.
Agreed. Dead Marshes.
Dead
Filmed
Marshes.
in a parking lot.
Really?
In what?
Filmed in a parking lot.
Nice.
Wow.
1,100 sandbags to create an elevated pool with tarps in a parking lot. And they got a bunch of like little patches of sand and rocks and whatever,
Wow.
filled it with water, built it in the parking lot, CG'd the distant background in, and it's filmed in a parking lot. Fuck yeah.
Wow.
Shoestring budget this movie had.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It looks like they're not in a parking lot.
Not at all. I mean, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And all the dead bodies were like latex or foam dead bodies. They considered getting actors to do that because they wanted them to look real, but like the logistics of like having actors underwater for long periods of time was like
Crazy.
dangerous and expensive, sort of. So they just got their artists to create extremely realistic looking dead bodies. They look like real bodies. You can't tell they're fake. It's pretty amazing that these people exist. That people can do this stuff.
Is
Like
cool.
it's
sort
crazy.
of like, again, sometimes it's like I don't even know what, like, all of that was not necessary, like, to the story. It's an interesting part of the book and so forth, but you could think
it's like a world building thing. But yeah, you could have cut the dead marshes out,
you could
and you
completely
would
cut
be
that
fine.
out, right? And
Yeah.
you'd be fine. And then you could have put the Boromir thing in, and that would have been better. I don't know. It just seems like, but again, they want to be like, oh, but this is cool. This is a really cool part of the book, and we really want to do
cool.
this.
Yeah, I do like that scene better than the Boromir scene.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
well,
in
there
terms
you
of
go.
like entertainment. Yeah. They spent a long time editing all of these movies, and Peter Jackson loves all of it. Like he's after all this torture he put himself through, he's still like a good decision maker, which is pretty good stuff. The New Zealand Army built the Adoris set. New Zealand was so in on this that they're just like, we'll send you our army to help build this town.
They were
that you want to
smart
build for this
because
movie.
it did a shit ton of good for their tourism industry,
Yep.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
as soon as
they all love
they had
Lord of the Rings
70
too.
workers there for 8 months.
Wow. That's a ton.
Yeah. And they had to helicopter everything in, literally everything, to build it. And they had to tear it down because it's like protected land. So that you can't go see it now. It's gone as soon as they were done filming
Oh,
there.
wow.
The scene where they were burning the village, one of the camera workers almost got burned because the fire got out of control. Because the wind is so crazy in a lot of these like remote locations
Yeah.
they were filming in.
I bet.
The hardest part about filming in Edoras or whatever the fuck that town is called was the wind. It's like a giant wind tunnel. You're in the middle of a giant like a field of mountains. You get hit with wind, it would tear the sets down a lot of the time. Like the actors, none of the audio was like done there, obviously. But
right.
like even them trying to recite their lines, like things would hit them in the face and stuff
Jesus.
as they were trying to do it. Like it was just difficult to film it.
man, yikes.
Cave set was built. They built a waterfall. All of that was real. No CG in any of those cave sets where they were like kidnapped too. The ruined city was repurposed sets from other movies.
Nice.
Pretty
Sustainable.
pretty good. Yeah. And there was a lot of miniatures in the backgrounds, like the Osgiliath ruined city shoot with like in the back, it was all green screens, and they would have like miniature sets in the back, and they would have like two different levels, like all the boulders hitting the water and stuff was like medium scale, and then all the stuff in the way back was like tiny miniatures, and they just like scaled it, so it was all real as you look at it, but like just scales.
Pretty sick.
They made a lot of jokes about how the people filming the models were still filming to this day, because apparently like from way before they started filming the movie to way towards the end of when they delivered it, like they were just filming these models
The entire
That's
time.
like the biggest part of the movie the entire time.
Wow.
Creating them, filming them, because it's not easy apparently. Even though if you have like mathematical cameras that you can program to do the same move at a smaller scale,
Right.
it's not going to work perfectly. And you
Yeah.
put it together and it like looks fucking weird. Then you have to figure out what's going wrong. And it just,
Yeah.
it's
It's not going to
crazy.
always be perfect, you know?
right. It's probably getting better these days, but nobody does this anymore.
No.
Right? Like it's like they created a bunch of technology that nobody is using anymore.
Too expensive.
Which sucks. But if you automate it, if you like come up with programs that can make it easier to do,
I don't think it's practical when you got to roll in someplace
it's
in a
not.
day and
nobody has 2 years to make a movie
Right.
anymore.
That's the issue. You got like 3 months.
Which sucks.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck. Use CG. You can
You
figure it
got
out
3
later.
months,
Fuck
and
it.
if we localize it correctly, then we'll be ready to launch in a year in time. And like that's all you get.
Shitty. The stairs and the miniature Helm's Deep set were cut piece by piece by hand
Wow.
and put in there. And they had to, when they blew it up, for the scale set that they blew up for the giant explosion, which, by the way, that explosion looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks, I don't know. What's one of the best shots in the movie? I think. I'm trying to bring you guys into
Still a
to the
distant
conversation
second
here.
from Gandalf and the Balrog falling into the depths.
That's true.
Come on, you cannot even compare to that. I don't know, but you're right. It is a pretty damn cool shot.
I mean, for a scene that with like a lot of CG and a lot of questionable edits and stuff, that one explosion part is just like, okay, this makes the scene.
Yeah, it
memorable.
looks a little almost silly with the Uruguay running through there with the little firework like he's a football player. Jamiroquai. What do you call him? The
Urukai.
Uruguay. I said Uruguay. Did I say Jamiroquai?
You said Uruguay.
yeah, there he is. There he's running and he's singing whatever the fuck Jamiroquai sings. What is he sing? That's
Virtual
virtual
insanity.
reality. He's just running in there with this little snow cone firework. Anyway, it looked a little silly, like he was at a football game when
Fuck
he's running
that.
in
Shot
there.
was awesome.
Anyway,
Legolas, kill him. Can't kill
yeah,
him. Guy's
3
too
arrows
motivated.
to the face. It got to do it, man.
Doesn't do
He
it.
still gets in there with his snow cone.
It's his Olympic, starting thingy.
God, whatever happened to Jamiroquai?
Probably nothing.
Why do you have to ask questions like that? They had one
It's
song.
important, man.
It
I know
makes sense that they're gone.
I'm not like spoken that word or heard that word in many years. So
Just like his first picture is something else.
And there goes John onto Wikipedia looking up
That's right.
Jamiroquai. We'll see you in 5 to 10 minutes, John, okay?
English acid jazz and funk band
Acid jazz.
formed in 1992.
their last studio
Disbanded
album was in 2017.
In their last. Oh man.
Weta, all right, back to the movie. Weta built the door that the battering ram, which was also real, was supposed to smash into.
Oh,
So the
okay.
battering ram, built huge, very heavy, very dangerous, so they had to be careful with it, was
Or
they were
not.
going to smash the door down. And they couldn't do it. They had all these giant stuntmen who would have been on the front line in a battle. Like these stuntmen are fucking ripped and they can do anything. They were trying to smash the door down, and the second unit directors who were doing this one part were like, put your fucking shoulder into it, smash the door down. They couldn't do it. They couldn't smash the door down after a day of trying to get
Oh
the
my
shot.
God.
So they had to go back to Weta and say, build a weaker door. So they were talking about, like, if you're getting sieged in a medieval battlefield, get Weta to build your door.
Because you won't be able to
because
get it
they
through
won't
it.
be able to use a
couldn't they
battering
like
ram to get through it.
take the door and like pry
Cut
it
it
in
in
different
half?
places?
You can cut a door in half? You see how
Yeah,
big that fucking door is?
can
It's
you, like-
easier for them to
like
build a new door, apparently.
Splinter
I
it
don't know.
or something so that it's going to break.
Splinter it with what, John? A battering ram? No.
No,
I
a
already went over this.
jackhammer. Sorry, something. Get something mechanical. Yeah, and
I think
and
you'd
get
be able
in
to
there.
tell if you had like a pinpoint destruction. They wanted to like fold like wood folds or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a fucking genius like all these people are. Neither are you, John. You don't know what you're talking about.
I
You
am
have
not.
to build another
I know,
fucking
I'm
door.
not. You're right. You're right. It's better to just start from scratch and build a door from scratch that's going to break apart.
Yes, apparently so, and that's what they did.
It needs to break apart. And they're like,
It
all
needs
right,
to break.
well,
It's very important for the action scene to break
That's
apart.
it. It is. It looks kind of dumb, but they're just sitting there banging away at it. As the movie's going to go on for a long
day.
time.
They're probably
Yeah.
rolling. They're like, keep it rolling.
Keep
Just keep
rolling.
it rolling.
It's
We don't know.
Like, this is the way war is. Sometimes it takes 2 days to break the door down.
Just the most boring of battles.
It is,
Let me in.
really.
Wham, wham.
Yeah. What you doing today? Banging at the door, Jim. What you going to do tomorrow? Probably banging at the door. Getting tired. Getting tired, boss.
Let's sleep under the battering ram. We'll get up tomorrow and start banging on the door again.
That's
That'll be
right.
fine.
That feels the way work is. That's the way work is.
John Howe and Alan Lee, again, can't emphasize enough how much these guys had to do with these movies. They collaborated with all the different teams. They were on set all the time. John Howe actually learned how to sword fight because everyone else was learning how to sword fight. He was just there, and he's like, "Yeah,
might as well." I mean, if everyone else is,
might as well.
Shit.
They were basically on call there to draw things as ideas came up, and then make sure that their drawings were implemented correctly. Or if people had because they're like the most creative people ever. You know, like you have artists that can sculpt things, but they can't think of the idea, sort of. Like these two guys think of the idea, and if the artists that are creating it be like, all right, so what's on the other side? Like, how do I make this? They'll know. Right. Like they'll absolutely know. They just live in a fantasy world in their minds. It's
pretty crazy.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like they're super creative people. It's great hearing them talk. They're very different people. It's kind of funny. One of them is the most soft-spoken person. He has no teeth. So he's like when he talks, he's just he seems like a guy who doesn't take care of himself, and all he does is draw. Like he forgets to brush his teeth because he's drawing. That's what this guy seems like. And the other guy is just a super wiry, kind of freaking out all the time. He's like, I love fucking Lord of the Rings. I'll draw anything, Lord of the Rings. And then he's the guy who learned how to sword fight. So they're both two of the craziest people. Nice. I know you guys won't ever watch the special features, but you should watch the special features from this movie because they're so good.
We'll see.
John, are you convinced, John? Are you convinced?
No, I am, but I still probably won't because we have all these other fucking movies we got to watch.
Right. That's true. Well, we don't have that many more movies to watch, John. We got 7 after this?
It's not going to end, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, it ends, John.
They keep making them, man. They keep making them.
They had a blacksmith on set to build things.
That's awesome.
Real blacksmith. All the armor you see was real hammered, whatever the fuck metal they used back then. Wow. They did it the same way. They
what do you mean, back in Middle Earth? That metal they used back in Middle Earth
when fantasy was real. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
They had Richard Taylor is the lead designer at Weta. He's the guy who wins the Oscars for them when they win for these movies. He is on the spectrum, and I mean to say that in the nicest way possible. He literally is on the spectrum, but he seems like a genius. He's just, whenever he's in the commentary tracks, he's in the special features. Naomi pointed out today when we were watching it, he's like, he's reading off something, right? I'm like, no, I've seen him talk on the fly. And he talks like this. He talks at one volume all the time, and he just talks at one, and he goes like this, and he does it. And this person did this, and this person did this, and this person did this, and we did it this way, and he just talks too loud for what's necessary. But the dude controls all these aspects of the design of things.
Wow.
And he's a fucking genius. He runs Weta, and
pretty crazy.
He literally, when you watch the commentary tracks, he talks about how they made each piece of armor. You listen to the pre and post production portion of it, which is one of the 4 commentary tracks that comes with this, and it's just the elven armor was one of the hardest armors to make because we had to get the steel, we had to hand hammer it, and then we had to get these leather workers to come in and hand detail it, and then we had to get these other little people to do little leaf things in, and then they came in and they gave it to this other team who sewed in the fucking leaf things into the leather things, and
just keeps on going.
Just listening to him, you're just like, what the fuck, man?
What else is going on up in that brain?
Christ.
Jesus. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, just it lets you appreciate the costume designs a lot more than I've ever appreciated costume designs. And I'm sure a lot of work goes into this stuff all the time, right? This is just really well documented stuff. They're making it very easy to consume for somebody who doesn't know anything about that sort of thing or doesn't usually care about it. But yeah, watch it, John. I'll send you the box set if you want.
Would
I
you
really will.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to.
I actually have the. I already have the DVDs. So I bet. I got
the
special
extended
features on
versions?
this. Yeah, I've got the DVDs.
You do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where the commentary is.
Yeah.
Took 3 to 6 days per sword for the blacksmith to make them.
Wow, that's actually pretty quick.
It is really quick, but also for the movie, that's a long time.
That's true. Well, I mean,
There's so many
endless
swords.
budget, endless time, though, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Even with endless time, though, there was deadlines.
Oh, I'm sure
right?
there was
eventually,
deadlines. Yeah, right.
Eventually, there was deadlines, but they had reshoots 2 years down the line, right? For any movie,
right?
So to get into the Orkai prosthetics, they got really sticky and wet. They couldn't dry them out. So what they did is every time all the stuntmen had to get back into their Orkai outfits, they put plastic bags on their hands and feet because it made it easier to pull all the tight rubber shit.
Oh, wow.
Wet rubber, frictiony shit. Yeah. So they had not only rubber shit on them, but plastic bags. So it was just no breathability, like zero breathability. And part of the reason they got a lot of the shots where you can see the Uruk-hai breathing out cold or like air, like hot air into the cold weather. Like it wasn't that cold out, but they were all so overheated that they were all breathing super hot air.
Damn.
Shit.
So
no deaths, but maybe
from.
some brain damage.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Seriously. And then they talked about doing simple stunts like jumping off of the ladder onto a mat. And usually it's easier because like in any other movie, you could see where you're falling. Like a part of being a stuntman is being able to see where the thing is and flipping properly as you go upside down.
Right. Yeah.
If you're in a fucking Uruk-hai mask, you can't see shit. Like you can see through the helmet. Like imagine just limiting your vision to like through your nose. Right. So you have to like adjust, and it was a lot more dangerous for all of them because like
probably too, you're gonna knock yourself around with all that gear on too. It's like, yeah.
Viggo Mortensen's knuckles were bleeding all the time.
Oh, were they?
The entire shoot of the movie. Yeah, because like they had fake swords that were not sharp, but they said like the weaker the less sharp you made the swords, the harder people would hit each other with it because like
so
they would feel more comfortable. So you get hit harder. Like you wouldn't get cut, but you get like
bruises,
beat the fuck up.
Right.
Yeah. Because everyone wanted to make it really good. Wow. They kept amping each other up. And Viggo is like breaking fingers, toes, bloody knuckles, broken teeth. And he's the star. And all the stuntmen are like, the fucking star with his face in the camera is like doing better than us. Everyone's just ramping it up, basically. Nice. So it was like super violent on set during those battle scenes.
I'm sure they're like, dude, you see his hair? It's in his eyeball, man. I wouldn't even have a hair in my eyeball.
I can see more through this freaking nose hole than he can see through his gross hair.
Yep.
The lead actor from Brain Dead is in this movie. He's the Uruk-hai called Sharku.
What was Brain Dead?
Brain Dead was Peter Jackson's zombie movie from the early 90s.
I saw Dead Alive. I don't think I saw Brain Dead.
Brain Dead was his first movie, I think.
Yeah, I saw Dead Alive, which is really this completely like gross out horror film.
I think at this point we have to watch Dead Alive at Halloween this year. Just because
that's a good. I remember that one being really freaky. Mm-hmm. That's a good call.
It was funny. It's a funny one.
Lots of what's the word? Like the thing. What do we call it? Like practical effects. Lots of practical effects were in there. A ton.
Yeah. Some pretty cheesy, which makes it kind of funny. Which makes it fun.
All right, that's a good call.
The scene where Theoden, the king, where he's like possessed. We haven't even mentioned Wormtongue yet. I don't think, right? Have we?
Yeah, Wormtongue. Yeah,
I like Wormtongue. Gross, greasy guy. Looks like Snape. TC. Any thoughts on Wormtongue?
I don't remember Wormtongue. Couldn't tell you who he is or where it is.
He's the guy who is
he's
like
the advisor,
possessing the king.
Like the obviously the most obviously evil guy you could see.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know why they let him go. They should have killed him.
I don't know how
kill that guy.
Hey,
right?
I'm looking for an advisor for my kingdom. How about that guy? Give me the Wormtongue guy. That's who I want to advise me. He looks healthy. He's got gray teeth and white.
I did have questions on like how he infiltrated that castle.
No, I know he did. They do it well in the movie to make it seem like he's just basically gotten into power. So yeah, but it's he's good being like totally nasty.
So Theoden took 9 hours to get into that makeup for the fully possessed Theoden.
Oh yeah,
that actor did 9 hours.
That's Jesus Christ.
And with contacts, and the contacts didn't quite work as well as they thought, so they also CG'd his eyes to be even more cloudy than.
Well, they could have let the fucking contacts out then, damn it, because they hurt. Whatever.
Hurt my eyes.
I just took them out anyway, you bastards.
Hours? Dude, 9 hours and then you have to work? Are you kidding me?
No.
Jesus Christ.
It's crazy.
No.
But they had, so that shot of him transforming back into the regular king was, it was entirely practical. I don't know. You'll agree with me on that one or not, but they basically had like different levels of him being de-makeuped, and they made him act. He acted it as the most made up guy. and he was like looking around like, oh, I'm all confused and stuff. And then they did the next day, like less makeup on him. And he had to like do it until he did the exact same movements with his head. Like, oh, I'm all confused. He would watch dailies of him from the day before, and they put it on the monitor and overlaid his head, and he had to like learn how to match the movement basically. So he matched exactly. And then they did it the next day, one level lower, and the next day, one level lower, and then the next day without any makeup on. So they had like 5 different shots of him with different levels of makeup on, so they could just fade between the real shots.
Wow.
And that's how they got that shot of him fading back into him.
I mean, it was damn
being
good.
a normal person. It was perfect.
Right.
You could like it. You can't do it better than that. And like, yeah,
It's funny because it's like you would think there's a different way, and they're like, no, we got to get all of it.
it's hard.
Yep.
It's hard. And you got to do it right. That's the only way to
That's
do
the only
it.
way to get it. Right. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And you could CG it now, but you'd see it, right? Like it looked like I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Like this is real. You can't fake it. Yeah, that was good. So many different tricks they tried on this movie, right?
Must have
Just
been great.
Stuck in there. They weren't like relying on one trick to float through at all. Good stuff. John Rhys Davis lost his middle finger on his left hand when he was younger in a farming
Oh,
accident.
I thought you were going to say on the movie.
Yeah.
Like the from the top knuckle
Yeah.
to the top.
Oof.
So like the top portion gone.
That's brutal.
I didn't know that. Peter Jackson didn't know that. And there was a bunch of prosthetics people on set. So they decided to play a trick on Peter Jackson one day where he had a set guy made a little top of the finger for John Rhys Davis to put it on his finger, and he filled it with blood, and he like got hit with it, and
nice.
he peeled it off in front of Peter Jackson and nearly made him faint.
No way.
He
That's
pulled
awesome.
a bloody finger
What
off
a
of his
great
hand
prank.
in front of from the prosthetics department. So you know it looked good.
I'd make him think like, oh no, I've really been injured on the set, Peter. Look at this.
Yeah. And he's been dealing with so much shit already. Like,
Right,
what
right.
the fuck are you doing, John? You're going to give him a fucking heart attack.
That's
Jesus
funny.
Christ. Yeah. Andy Serkis changed the pace of the movie. They did a bunch of all of Andy Serkis. TC, are you aware of Andy Serkis?
Not
Have you heard of
really.
him since this?
No.
He's still like he became the premier motion capture artist ever.
Planet of the
He's-
Apes, dude. He's like
okay.
all
Yeah.
of the like that was one big deal. What else did he do?
He didn't do like King Kong too or something like that. Like he does all like the motion capture stuff.
Right.
He's basically like the motion capture guy
Wow.
because of this movie.
Yeah.
And they hadn't planned on it, which
So
is the
King
craziest thing.
Kong, Caesar in Planet of the Apes, and then he's
Yeah, he's the
Snoke,
main character of Monkey.
which is God in the
he was
Force.
Snoke, the CG
yeah,
Snoke.
Yeah, but I mean that was just such a terrible character with a terrible name in the Star Wars films. But yeah, he was Snoke, fucking Snoke. It's the dumbest name
It
ever.
is.
But whatever. We can move on from that. But Jesus Christ, Snoke.
They weren't trying, John.
They weren't even. You're right. They weren't even
weren't
trying.
trying.
We call him Snoke. What are you having a stroke? No, it's just Snoke. Who calls
It's not a
anything
stroke,
Snoke?
it's just
Why would you
Snoke.
call anything Snoke? Bad, good, whatever. Snoke is just
Because it's fucking George Lucas these
It's
days, John. There was a period of
fucking-
time where he was a genius, and now he's just gone.
the most
He's gone.
fucking lame name. I think it's the most fucking lame name ever. Snoke.
I
Anyway,
couldn't disagree.
I just Jesus Christ. Anyway, okay, fine. Moving on from that. Yeah.
He's still angry, I can tell.
Yeah, well,
He's angry from the Snoke.
Jesus Christ! Really, I can't even.
Snoke.
It's hard.
Can I just say the name again? Can I just
I can't
please
even.
repeat
I
the
can't
name
even describe
a
the
couple
anger
more
and the
times?
outrage with that name. Anyway, yeah. So okay, moving on.
Moving on, he says.
Oh, he directed Venom. Let There Be Carnage. The most
did?
recent, the 2021
Andy
Venom
Serkis
movie.
directed it?
I liked the new Venom movie, actually.
And
Is it?
you're saying Andy Serkis directed the new Venom movie?
Yeah, he directed it. Not the new
What?
one, the 2021 Let There Be Carnage movie.
I'm not sure I know the difference, but I'm surprised he directed. Was that the second one? That's cool. He's directing shit. Good for him.
Yeah.
All right. What are we doing trivia on? Venom or are we doing on Lord of the Rings?
Just
trying to move it around a little, keep some
Trying to
liveliness
keep
here.
it,
That's
just
all.
kind of keep us alive in this long.
I'm
Rings.
trying, guys. I'm trying.
You were doing an awesome job, Denny.
Thank you.
Let me not dissuade you. You're doing great.
John Rhys Davis. They were very worried about casting him as Treebeard because obvious fucking reasons. You have this other main character with the same freaking guy talking with the voice, and you think that, hey, they would be pretty easy for people to be confused about this one guy making the same voice. So they tried a lot of different things. He ended up talking through like a wooden box thing. It was like they made like a wooden box that was like a maze, sort of. It was like an enclosed box kind of whistle
That's kinda
thing that just like moved his voice around.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any, from what they said, I find it kind of hard to believe, but what they said was there was no digital modulation of his voice at all.
Oh, come on.
It was, I know.
No
right?
chance.
It seems
There's no digital modulation that they told him about.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
There's no way.
All
It
the
was
people
so
said that.
modulated, and it was like,
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Don't need to
but
get
that's
ramped
what
up.
they said.
Everyone agrees.
I don't know what this fucking box looked like. I don't know how fucking magic this box was.
I don't know.
that
They
were
mean
using.
it's not digitally modulated. If after he talks, they throw it through a whole bunch of effects. Because certainly
That's
that's what
digitally
was going
modulated.
on. I don't know. Maybe like
That
we
is what
did-
that means.
We didn't mess with the source audio. We just added effects after the source audio. I don't know.
That's
to beef
the
it
same
up.
thing.
Like,
I know.
and they
But
had some
there's
low end on there.
no
you
fucking
know.
question.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I was confused by that too, but they
You
insisted on it.
don't naturally add reverb to your fucking voice. It just doesn't
No,
work
you
that
do.
way.
You do if you put it through a box. Like the little box they built was
That's
like
true.
pretty complicated. So like
Because you're not getting the source audio.
Okay,
You're
I
getting
get. Okay. Then let's say you're analog modulated. I guess if that makes them feel better.
well, that's fine, but I don't think that's what happened. I mean, I think it was
I think they must have done
They at least-
something during mixing that.
at the very
Yeah.
least you have to like doing EQing is digitally modulating a voice, right? If you take out the high end of whatever the fuck's
I
going
don't
on in
see
that
why
box,
not.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. So they're full of shit. Is all
Right.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But they did do it through a box, and it worked pretty damn good. I was surprised it was him. It sounded pretty good. I loved his voice. I thought it was like pretty perfect for Tree.
His voice is awesome in
Yeah.
a lot of different ways. I mean, he just has a great sonorous sort of voice that's like great to build on. But yeah, so. I remember when he was singing in Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's really good when he sings that.
I am the captain.
He's a British soul is a soaring soul. When he sings that song, it's really good and very
Agreed.
like resonant.
Bad dates.
Yes.
Always, whenever I throw away a piece of fruit, that's what goes in my head. I'm always just like,
bad dates. And a dead monkey in your head.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm preventing a monkey from dying by throwing these bananas.
No,
away
you're
that have been
preventing
out for
any
2
from dying.
weeks
The
longer than they
monkey
should have
is
been.
already dead.
So filming the Treebeard scenes, a lot of that shit was real. They built a 14-foot tall puppet that Mary and Pippin could sit on, and they sat basically on bicycle seats that they complained about quite a bit in a pretty funny way. I have to say, one of the funniest commentary tracks I've ever heard is the cast and crew. It's the cast commentary track on this one. The Dom and what's his name? The people who play Mary and Pippin.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious, crazy, talking about weird shit, making almost no sense. But the scenes where they were in and they put them in there, they're sitting on bicycle seats being bounced around on this giant 14-foot tall structure of Treebeard, which they built. Like a lot of that stuff you're seeing is real, and they superimposed it on a background of the miniature sets that they built of Fangorn Forest. But they were very uncomfortable, and their balls are being crushed. They talked about it quite a bit, and it was pretty damn funny. And there were times where there was so hard to get them into the model because like there was safety stuff that had to go in, and they would take tea breaks because New Zealand is like Britain and they have tea.
Okay.
I don't know, but they're like people would leave. All the people that were like moving the Treebeard around because it was manually moved. You had to like crank things and like thump left, thump right, bump, and then they would have to like have the camera moving and all that stuff, all manually done. But then tea happens. And then they would just leave Mary and Pippin strapped to the puppet and they leave the set. So they'd be in there for 15 minutes at a time by themselves.
Just waiting.
They'd give them tea. They'd give them the food and the tea, and they'd be eating tea with their balls being crushed, staring at this giant 14-foot tall
Oh my
Treebeard
God.
sculpture. And nobody else was there.
Brutal. That sounds
That's a little
awful.
inconsiderate.
I don't know why they want to do this.
They knew it was going to be something worth it.
Yeah.
There was something like after all of this, they're like, this is something else.
Yeah.
No one else has ever done this before. This is something. So they got through it because of that,
Yeah,
I think.
that makes sense.
But yeah, they both said they don't have testicles anymore. So
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
just
Oh,
gone.
they're
Just
fun.
gone.
They're
Just back
so
into their
fun.
body.
They're funny.
Yeah. I don't want to like, it wouldn't be funny for me, like the way they deliver the things. I'm just going to send it to you, John. Unsolicited, and you fucking listen to it. I'll send you I'll put a sticky note on it telling you where to start with the commentary track. It'll be
Well,
the
I
Two
got it.
Towers
Like I said, I probably
cast.
already have them. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not, if I don't send it to you, you're not
Dominic,
going to feel obligated to watch them, right?
Dominic Monaghan was Mary, right? And Billy Boyd is Pippin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dom and Billy. He's Dom.
Yeah.
He goes by Dom.
Again, yeah. Oh, they actually they launched a podcast in 2021 called The Friendship Onion, a podcast where they discuss their experience filming The Lord of the Rings and other topics. And they have a podcast.
Other topics, nobody else cares.
Aw.
That's the only topic, guys.
It's funny.
So there was a thing called Gollum juice. They would feed Andy Serkis all the time because what he did with his voice was like taxing to his, throat. Honey, lemon, and ginger, pure mix. And he would drink thermoses full of it daily. So much sugar
Gross.
all the time. They had spent 2 years designing Gollum, and they had to redesign everything for this movie in 2.5 months.
Damn.
Be interesting to see what it looked like before Circus arrived. Like, what did they envision Gollum as looking like after that 2 years?
Guess what you can do, John?
Yeah. Watch
You
the
can watch the fucking
commentary.
special features. It's all in there. It shows you everything. It shows you like back to back what it looked like and how it transformed and all that stuff. It's cool. Bob Anderson was the stunt coordinator. He was the stunt coordinator in Star Wars, and he was the guy in the Darth Vader outfit during the Luke Skywalker lightsaber scene back in the 70s.
Cool.
He was there for this, and he's a legend, and he's still really good. So like everybody was like really happy that he was there. That's pretty crazy. That guy's like 40 years after his heyday, he's still doing like the best
Still
shit.
hanging out around the
coming out.
studios. Yep.
Yeah. Vigo had a thing where he headbutted everybody that he liked.
Oh, that seems normal.
No.
Yeah.
Like violently
Painful.
headbutting
That's
people.
how you knock people out, sort of. Like both of you.
If Vigo liked you and you were doing a scene with Vigo, at the end of the shot, he'd come over, grab the back of your head by like underneath your neck, like behind your head, grab you and then headbutt you.
Wait, now
in the forehead.
There's head like touch, right? There's like, but not a like bonk.
No,
Right,
so it's
like
in between because like they were talking about headbutt and then they showed a couple of things, but like it was not.
Was not
So
not a
you
headbutt.
would say it was like you would call it no, but you'd probably go with a knock, like a real.
Put it this
head
way,
knock
it felt
or a
like
head-
something.
I call it a head knock.
And then
A head
it didn't
smack.
feel good
Yeah,
if he got you too
Yeah.
hard.
it looks
like-
painful. It wasn't like he was trying to knock people out.
No, but
it
like
wasn't
people-
like,
people
it wasn't
were
like a
like-
forehead kiss. You know what I mean? It wasn't one of those.
But afterwards, people were like grabbing their head, going, "What the fuck, man? He just fucking."
It made people afraid hanging out near Vigo, is what it did. It kept them on edge around Vigo.
Nice.
Because he's a crazy motherfucker.
It's like, "Good job, you man." I don't know. It's
I want to
just
fucking, oh, bam!
some like drunken like big sports fan or something like that. Just
Yeah.
oh man, that's funny.
There was a shot, one of the shots where Gimli, Aragon, and frickin' what's his name? Elf dude. This is where I start losing it.
Orlando Bloom, Legolas.
Orlando Bloom are running to save Merry and Pippin, and there's a shot where they're running into the sunset, and that was very important for Peter Jackson to get, running into the sunset. So they needed to go out into this remote place to be there in the morning when the sun was rising, and they planned on taking the cast and crew that needed to be there the night before so they could camp out there because it took them quite a while to get to places in the morning when visibility was there for the helicopters, etc. So they had a certain amount of people that needed to be there, camped out in the middle of fucking nowhere in New Zealand to get this one shot. Everyone else heard about it, turned it into a party. They had a giant rager with like everybody in the cast and crew. It was the most fun night of this entire shoot for this movie for everyone because like most everyone else didn't have anything else to do the next day. It was just to get this one shot, and all three of them in that shot hadn't slept. Like they drank all night. They listened to music. They got up they started getting into makeup at 6 a.m. They hadn't gone to sleep, and then they did the shot, and they were hungover the rest of the day.
That's the worst.
Cool.
Yeah. But epic party, biggest party of the Two Towers because of that shot.
Nice.
And it was because Peter Jackson's like, I need the shot.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, fuck it. Peter gets it. He's Peter.
Yeah, he
Man,
gets
we'll
whatever
party.
he wants.
Or we'll party before.
I will get drunk because Peter tells me to. That's right. I mentioned this last time, but 14 months of shooting for all three of these movies. 14 months.
That's
In the initial
impressive.
portion of the shooting. There was like reshoots later and stuff. They had a satellite video feed from all of the different sets that Peter had to like interact with, since there were like 12 different directors working at the same time. So they had so Peter could sit at home, talk to like 6 of them, and then for the other 6, fly to them wherever he was.
It's a crazy setup.
Crazy. A lot of the women a lot of the horse riders in New Zealand, the best ones are women, and they couldn't find enough good men horse riders to fill out all the horses they needed. So a lot of the people you see riding around are women in beards and helmets riding around on horses.
Like that.
To plan out Helm's Deep, they built a miniature set and bought the world out of toy soldiers. They bought at least 40,000 toy soldiers from all of the manufacturers across the world and put it on this giant, they had this giant miniature set and just planned out how many soldiers they wanted to shoot and then how they would move the camera around on the Helm's Deep set. So they did this for a long period of time, and it helped show the artists like the scale they wanted to show, like how many actual individuals you wanted to have in a shot.
Wow.
Pretty crazy. Barad-dûr, which is the Sauron Tower, is supposed to be about 2,000 feet tall, and it was the largest miniature they built, and it was 27 feet tall.
Jesus.
Which is fucking huge.
Yeah.
And they still had micro detail on it. So like there's a lot of shots throughout the movie where they zoom in on it, and it's like there's so many different levels of like what's going on this tower with like orcs at the bottom and like just detail at the top and then the eye and whatever. But 27 feet tall, and they just had a camera filming around it and adding CG and all this stuff all the time.
Wow.
Pretty good stuff. They did the same kind of thing with the Saruman's tower. I forget what the name of that tower is, but they built that one. It was quite large too, but not that large. But they still had like the biggest set around it because they knew they were going to have this big battle scene and the flooding scene at the end of this movie. That was all practical at a miniature scale. And they basically they went through all these different animation designs of like how to brutally murder an orc with a tree. And they showed all these really violent ones, and some of them made it in. Like the one where Treebeard stomps on an orc. They didn't think that was going to make it into the final cut. They thought the censors were going to like cut that out. But it's orcs. Nobody fucking cares. So that's good. Good for them. But doing water in slow motion is pretty tricky, apparently. It's hard to scale water because of surface tension. And the way they fixed it is by slowing down the footage and then also CGing over spots where surface tension was like visible. If that makes sense. Because like if you're making water big and you see little details that make it look like the water is small, then you know it's small, but they just like CG'd over those little imperfections.
And you'd never know the difference.
In the shots. Yeah. All right. So we have a lot more trivia to go through, and we decided that we're going to fucking have a third episode on this one.
Yep.
So
we'll be
that's
back.
what we're doing.
All right.
Two Towers, episode 3. 2-3. Here we go.
All right.
All right, guys.
See ya.
We'll see you in a bit.